Hindi imposition. That's the word used by the protesters to justify the violence and destruction of public and private property. In 2025, where progress and development should be our number one priority, especially in countries like India, why are we still fighting a language war? You might have seen all the news and articles about how there are various protests and rallies and vandalism against anything that is written in Hindi. Most of the time, I try to be neutral between various issues and I try to find remedy for the situation quick and easy. But in this matter, I'm going to be biased towards Hindi. Not just because of the fact that it's our language developed over centuries in our own country, but because of the fact that it's our national language. Yeah, I said it. And I know that you are all trying to bash me in the comments, unsubscribe even though I have very little, but hear me out. There are over 600 million people speaking Hindi. 600 million. The fact that most of the nation, all over the nation, speaks the language makes it a national language. No other language is spoken to this extent, this wide in India. And please don't argue that so is English. English is not our language. And also the fact that it is not understood and comprehended like how Hindi is. And those who do understand English, which is almost 10% of the population by the way, or 150 million, are moderate to limited proficiency speakers. I'm speaking of the English speakers who can speak English, not read and write. Question yourself, do you speak in English with your friends and families even though both the parties know and speak English? No, right? This is where Hindi shines, where it is understood and comprehended and spoken to the level that we all can understand what the other person is actually talking about. Coming to the point, I said I'm going to be biased towards Hindi because it has some phenomenal advantages compared to English. One being the fact that using Hindi is our competitive advantage against other countries. I mean, look at China. Can any random average Joe look at its internal issues and matters, which are in Chinese by the way, pass their unnecessary comment and say that you gotta do this, you gotta do that? No, right? There is a natural barrier of language which prevents foreigners from interfering with the internal matters of the country. But look at India, due to having English as an official language, we are prone to attack from the Western countries. Not only would they be able to look at the internal matters, but also manipulate and plan things which are not in the interest of India. A recent example being the JFK files made public recently, where it was revealed that there is a substantial amount of American influence in our election, and to a large extent, they were able to predetermine who the next person in power would be. And I know you are all like, yeah, they could learn the language and interfere in our problems anyway. My friend, yes, they could, but at least there is a natural language barrier. And how many people have you seen that are real good and proficient in Hindi? Not many, I guess. So yeah, there is a natural barrier for an average person as to not interfere in our internal matters. Second is the huge employment opportunity you could have access to if you know Hindi very well. I mean, I don't want to explain on this point. You're all very well read and you know exactly what I mean. But I want to shed some light on the argument that people make that they don't want Hindi and they are well off learning English and their regional language. English for the international and regional for the region they stay in. Why do they need Hindi? They don't even use it in their daily lives. Well, other than the fact that you are missing out on a huge employment opportunity that Hindi offers, you are also missing out on helping out numerous people. Have you known Hindi? You ask how? Well, let's say you are one of the better leaders who address the problem the regional people are facing, and you somehow solve the problem through effective communication of that region for the people. And now you join the regional politics and becomes the MLA of that region because you are one of the better leaders and you are able to do a very good job at that position too. And now the state government offers you a higher position and you do a very good job in that position as well. And then soon enough you become the chief minister of that state because the language is the same as your region. Now what next? UI for the nation, the position for the Prime Minister of India. But there is a problem. You don't know Hindi and you are not able to effectively communicate with the people of India because you are not able to connect with the rural people who would eventually vote you in as the Prime Minister. You wouldn't be able to market the remarkable things you have done for the state and hence you aren't able to make it. Take Mr. Shashi Tharoor as an example, and on the other hand, let's say it's Mr. Narendra Modi. Who would you think is the better communicator? Well, both have their strengths and weaknesses, but if you look at the bigger picture here, we arrive at the current state of affairs. And of course, I mean there are other prerequisites required, but at the bigger picture, if you look at it, it is what it is. Now, this is just an example, but your ability to connect to people on a wider spectrum will make you the ultimate leader, be it the business, media, or the politics. Speaking of the third point, which is also my favorite, is the wide access of people you have access to when traveling across India. I have traveled extensively throughout India, be it the northeast, the northern north, the west coast, or even the southern part. If you speak with people in Hindi, they would understand and they would even try to help you out. Traveling really helps you better understand the region, the people, and the culture of the particular region, far from the stereotypes many people have fixed in their minds. You could easily travel throughout the country, through the railway or the roadways, and experiences the differences people have throughout the country. Knowing Hindi, you can communicate with the local people and make your travel experience a lot better. But let's once again address the argument that people make that without even knowing Hindi, we could travel and experience a lot. True that, but would you be actually able to experience and know the people, know their culture, and know how different they actually are compared to you? No, right? And this is even seen in the international settings, where in the US, we have a lot of Indian people divided just because of the language. There is Telugu speaking community, there is Hindi speaking community, there is Gujarati speaking community, and so on, and due to which we are not able to present ourselves as a united front. And as a result, we are still divided, especially between the north and the south, where we distinguish ourselves as Aryans and Dravidians. Firstly, there was no such word as Dravidian. It was a British conspiracy designed to create an artificial divide between the north and the south to rule all of India. And the word Arya is derived from the Vedas, where Arya is someone who follows and lives his life according to the Dharma Shastra. And the people of the subcontinent are called Aryavarta. Notice the word subcontinent. That means the people from the north to south, from east to west, all of India. That means the Aryan invasion was fake. What? Okay, sticking to our subject, let's tackle some more arguments. Argument 1. Why don't North Indians learn South Indian languages? Because there is no need for it outside of the language region. Would you study Gujarati or Bengali whilst you stay in Punjab? No, right? You want to learn Punjabi, which is the regional language, not the other languages stated. Argument 2. Why not make Tamil the national language? Man, there's a difference between 60 million and 600 million. Hindi is the most spoken language in India, and it makes sense to make that the national language. If Tamil was the most spoken, it would have been the national language of India. Simple. Argument 3. Why impose Hindi on us? There's no Hindi imposition on anybody. Has anybody come to your home and forced you to learn Hindi? No, right? But it's practiced in government and public places, as India is a free country where any person from any part of the country can come, work and stay and not feel like he is in a completely different country. Yes, respect the regional language if you are there for short term, and learn if it's necessary for work and other purposes. Now coming to the national education policy, where students are made to learn 3 different languages, of which 2 should be the native of India. That means English is mandatory. So considering that, let's assume a student from Kerala. The first preference should obviously be Malayalam, as it's the regional language. What should the second language be, considering the fact that Hindi is not an option? Should he learn Bengali, which is the second most spoken after Hindi? Or should he learn Marathi, which is the third most spoken? Okay, let's say we have Bengali for a second language, which is spoken by more than 85 million people, mostly in the regions of Bengal and Assam. Of what significant value can the language Bengali provide to the student who resides in Kerala? I don't know, let's see. Let's do a Google search here. It says that it provides access to rich culture, heritage, enhanced communication skills in a large region, and potential career opportunities. Okay. Also says Bengali is a major language in Bangladesh and eastern India. Okay, fair enough. Now what do you say? Would you learn Bengali over Hindi as a second language? No, right? For obvious reasons we know. And more or less it's the same across all regional languages of India, making Hindi the only viable option to learn. So at the end, the student would be learning English, which is the official language of India, Malayalam, which is the regional language of India, and Hindi, which is also an official language and the only national language, which is not imposed on anybody. Argument/question 4. Which languages are the northern states learning as proposed? Well, in the northern states where Hindi is very prevalent, the other native language of India learned is Sanskrit with Hindi and English. Argument 5. Why do we need 3 languages? Only 2 languages are enough. One is the regional, in the region you are staying, and the other is English for the international. We don't need Hindi. Do you see this passport? Is your regional language written on it? No, but it's your country's passport. What? Nobody is forcing you to learn Hindi. If it's of no use to you, then fine, don't learn it. But refusing access to the language of the country to the students is one of the most heinous crimes you can ever commit. Why deny the language which is the uniting language of the country, which is of great importance culturally, historically, and significantly to the country? We do not want to see your children leading the country the right way. Anyway, children are masters in learning and picking languages, and there is no harm in learning Hindi. If you could learn English, which is a foreign language, then you can surely learn Hindi, which is our own. And the people playing politics in the name of language, what can I say? You know better. You deal with them. I recently visited the Tirupati Tirumala Devasthanam, which is in Andhra Pradesh, and had some little inconveniences because I didn't know the local language. I just had some navigation problem. Even though I know 3 languages, which are Hindi, English and Kannada, I couldn't navigate through that small region. Now wherever I go, I can't learn a different language, and the fact that South India has 4 distinct languages completely different from each other makes this even harder. A guy from Hyderabad can't understand Malayalam when he visits Kochi or vice versa. And this is exactly the reason why India desperately needs a uniting language, which is none other than Hindi. I didn't want to make this video, but the fact that I did and you watching it till the end proves that there is something wrong with us. And that is exactly the reason why I made this video. I hope you share this video with a fellow who says we don't need Hindi language, and I hope you at least give the respect the Hindi language deserves. With those last words, I take my exit. My name is Arjun, and I'll catch you in the next one.